Hi there, I've got a very floral card for you today which shows off one of the new mini Gemini dies we have. Just to give you a quick peek at all the products we'll be using, I'm using the Congratulations sentiment out of the Delightful Sentiment set. This is the new Lynx die. It's a smaller Gemini die, so we're calling it a mini. The Scribble Flowers set we'll be using as the floral adornment on our card. And we're going to have some Laurel Leaves with that. And the sentiment itself will come in on the pierced flags. And I just want to show off one of our newest additions to the Creative Expression range. This is the new Wisteria color card. Love this. You'll be seeing this a lot, I hate to tell you. Just such a beautiful shade. So first thing I'm going to do is a bit of cutting. And I'm going to bring my Lynx die in. Now these come with a separate cutting edge on either side. So you have one here with a decorative center. So you can cut the center out of your card if you want just a really pretty feature in the card, or you can use either one of the cutting edges with it to cut it completely out, or just a single side if you only want to cut one edge. So they're really versatile in that respect. So I've already gone ahead and done one side. And this particular Gemini die is kind of reminiscent of our other larger one that we did called Lyra. It's kind of an asymmetrical design, very, very pretty. But I'm going to use it on either side of this card, and we're just going to pop this cutting edge right on there and center it. Use a bit of tape in place. Bring my cutting edges over here, and we'll tape it properly. And you just want to make sure that the edge of the outside die is kind of centered around it. There's going to be a little bit of a part here on either side where we'll have to nip it with some scissors. Okay, I think I'll just use a tiny bit more to hold it steady right there. Okay, cutting edge down, pop it through a grand caliber. There we go. Let's check that. Now I'm not going to emboss this side because I've already done this one. I don't want to flatten it, so I'll have one flat side and one embossed side, rather, is what I should say. Take the tape off, fit out, and like I said, because the cutting edge stops right there, you'll need to take your scissors and just nip there and there. Okay, take all our little bits out. We'll pop it back onto our magnetic plate, and I'll show you what it looks like. Let me just do a little bit of a cleanup here. There we go. So you can see, very asymmetrical, but really, really pretty too. And I've got a little bit of residue from my tape, so I'm just going to use a bit of a adhesive remover to take that off. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to set that to the side, and I've gone ahead and prepared a secondary piece to go underneath that with a couple of strips of double-sided adhesive on there. So I'm going to go ahead and peel these off, bring in my copy paper here to use underneath it, expose that adhesive, and I'm going to be using Ice Snow on the sides here. I'm sure you'll know that this is one of my absolute favorite products that Creative Expressions does. It's a beautiful, chunky sort of it's a glitter jewel. It's not really a glitter, but it's a beautiful translucent. You don't have a color to it, so it picks up whatever color you put underneath it. And let me just put the excess back. There we go. Okay, so now I've got the base ready to go. I can go ahead and add a bit of mounting foam to the center here. I'll just put a little bit down either side. Peel the backing. And we'll seat that over. And I do have my strip on probably just a little bit further in than I should. So I'm going to add some glue just to make sure it stays stuck really nicely. And just center it over this. And I want just a little bit peeking out of either side. That looks about even. There we go. Give that a second to to hold up. I've gone ahead and prepared a base for it. You can see I've pierced around the white edge, a little bit of that wisteria that peeks out so it brings in that color. So we'll go ahead and add that. Right in the middle there. There we go. Okay, so next we're going to move forward and do some flowers. Okay, so I've got the larger flowers out of the Scribble flowers, and I'm just going to use the actual flower part of that. So I'm going to nip away the stem and leaves. Very easy to do. It's designed so you can use it either way, which is really, really nice. It makes it very, very versatile. And then I'm going to do some inking. So I've got some shaded lilac ink here. There we go, and a smoothie. And I just want to bring a tiny bit of color in on the edge of these leaves, or these petals. Just a nice, soft little ink. So I'll pick up some of that background color. There we go. In fact, there's a little bit here still to do. I've done some of the flowers ahead of time. I'll just bring a tiny bit more in. There we go. I'm going to glue these together and just offset them. And how about like that? Give that a second to set up. And I'll put that to the side for the moment. I'll tell you what I'll add. Add a little pearl to that. We'll let it set up and wait. So I've got an 8mm pearl here. Oop. Sit that right in the middle. So that'll set and dry for a second, and then we'll move on to cut our congratulations sentiment. So I'm going to be using the pierced flags to cut this with. Center this over my sentiment. Grab some tape. That looks nice. Bring in our cutting plate. And pop that on there. Okay. So this one has some really nice little piercing around the edge there. Really nicely frames that. And I'm going to just take the smoothie around the edge of this so it'll almost look like a faux mat coming around, giving that same really pretty pale wisteria color here. And then if you want to go into the center part of the flag there, you can use the tip of this, which is a little more pointed, and you get right in there. Really handy the way these work. Okay, have that. Now a little bit of mounting foam on the back of that. So bring our base back in. And I think I'll start with the sentiment, and I'll put that where I want it. I think going right across about like that is good. And then I'm going to work my way forward with some of the flowers. And I like to start out putting the biggest ones into place and then kind of work around that, some of the smaller ones. So I'm just going to catch the edge of this. I don't like to cover the sentiment itself, but I like to just surround it. Pop this one into place. That'll cover the corner of that nicely. We're going to just kind of do a what I call a scatter up the center of the card. Glue dots. And I love using glue dots when I do this sort of thing, because that way I can pick them up and move them if they're not quite where I want them to be. Whereas if you go right in with glue, it's going to be stuck, and then you're pretty much stuck with it. So I'm going to add a little one down there, and let's move forward with some smaller ones here. Just kind of trailing up the card like that. You can also take these and bend the petals forward a little bit to give yourself some movement, which is quite nice on the card too. And maybe one or two more up here. That'll work. And I've got the laurel leaves that I've gone ahead and cut. I'm going to just nip these about a little bit so we can add in some pieces. It's nice, you don't have to use the whole entire section. You can use little bits of these. Okay, and I think I will put these in with some glue. And you can just kind of tuck them around underneath your flowers there, and little teeny pieces you can put around some of the smaller flowers. And let's do this. There's left and right facing ones or curving laurel leaf. So if you want one to curve around, you can certainly do that. And how about let's take one more off of here. Just add a tiny bit more. You can see how you can just sit and play with them and do whatever you like here too. And maybe on the inside. I think part of the fun of doing your cards are just playing with the design and the layout and coming up with something that you're really happy with. I think that just needs a little bit more on the inside there. About right about like that. There we go. So you can see how quick and easy that card is, but I think it really does have the wow factor. And I love this wisteria card. I hope you'll enjoy it too.